to give our gratitude to Mr. Ryan for helping us and for those who have come. Next slide, please. And this is our agenda for today. I will introduce the group members and then I will explain a brief rundown, and next we will hear a welcome speech from Mr. Yunianto, and then we will start the webinar session. By the end of the webinar session, we will be holding a Q&A session. Lastly, we will be closing this webinar. Okay, next. So let me introduce my team, starting from me. My name is Aurelio. I will be your moderator for this webinar. As for the speakers, there would be two of them, Mr. Bon Ryan and Kristen Adela. There are also the host and co-host handled by Andrew Cristianto and Sugi Sunando. Lastly, I would like to give you some information about the webinar. This webinar has two sessions. In the first session, Nadel will share her experience as a college student at Matana University. In the second one, Mr. Ryan will bring his material about basic cybersecurity knowledge. After Mr. Ryan has finished with his presentation, we will be holding a Q&A session, and lastly, Mr. Juhri will give some words. Before we jump into the first session, I would like to welcome Mr. Yunianto as the head of the Information System Study Program to give a welcome speech. Mr. Yunianto, please.
Okay, good afternoon, all of you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, nice to see you all here. Ya, senang bertemu dengan kalian semua di sini. Ini adalah webinar yang diselenggarakan oleh rekan-rekan mahasiswa dari program studi Sistem Informasi Universitas Matana. Welcome to our speaker, Bon Ryan.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Welcome to our speaker, Nadel.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for Aurelio as a moderator for this seminar, yeah. And all of you in our seminar. Yeah, I will speak in bahasa Indonesia in my greeting, ya. Ya, saya akan memberikan kata pengantar dengan menggunakan bahasa Indonesia ya, supaya mungkin teman-teman yang dari luar Matana ini banyak sekali ya, agar bisa mengetahui ya lebih dalam ya, lebih dekat tentang apa itu sistem informasi ya, program studi informasi, apa yang akan kalian dapat di sana, dan nanti ujungnya adalah peluang karir kalian ya. Oke, saya akan coba sharingkan ya beberapa slide untuk menjadi pengantar agar webinar ini bisa berlangsung dengan baik dan diterima oleh semua peserta ya. I will share my screen. Wait a minute. Oke, this is my name. Ini adalah nama saya ya, Yunianto Purnomo. Saya adalah Ketua Program Studi Sistem Informasi di Universitas Matana ya. Saya akan menjelaskan secara singkat aja ya. Apa itu sistem informasi ya? Maybe Bon Ryan will know what I say with my presentation. Ya, di sistem informasi seperti ini ya, buat perkenalan untuk rekan-rekan yang nantinya mungkin ya berminat untuk studi lanjut di sistem informasi. Sistem informasi itu apa bedanya dengan teknik informatika atau kuliah komputer lainnya ya? Nah, ruang lingkupnya seperti ini ya. Ada 4 kuadran. Di bagian atas ada bisnis, di bagian bawah ada teknologi, ya, sebelah kiri ada player, dan sebelah kanan ada proses ya. Jadi di zaman sekarang ya, semua kegiatan bisnis, aktivitas bisnis berupa kegiatan-kegiatan di manajemen, accounting, finance, mungkin juga bisnis pariwisata, bisnis grosir ya, wholesale, retail, mungkin juga bisnis rumah sakit, bahkan juga kegiatan-kegiatan di pemerintahan, perguruan tinggi, dan sebagainya. Itu adalah kegiatan bisnis, dan semua saat untuk zaman sekarang ini itu tidak lagi ya, bahkan tidak bisa dilakukan secara manual. Nah, semua butuh dukungan teknologi ya. Nah, teknologinya seperti apa? Teknologi seperti ini ya. Nah, berupa komputer ya, orang banyak menyebutnya sebagai komputer, ya di dalamnya ada hardware, software, jaringan ya. Bahkan hardware itu, komputer itu tidak lagi dalam bentuk PC ya. Perangkat mobile ya, itu juga sekarang banyak digunakan untuk berbagai transaksi bisnis ya. Nah, di sana juga ada hal-hal yang lain yang berkaitan dengan teknologi. Nah, kalau di bagian bawah ini ya, adalah ilmu yang mempelajari tentang teknologi komputer, itu masuknya di teknik informatika atau sistem komputer ya. Teknik informatika lebih ke software ya. Bagaimana mendevelop sebuah software, membangun sebuah software ya. Nah, sementara kalau teman-teman di bisnis ya, itu tadi ya, di manajemen, accounting dan sebagainya. Jadi mahasiswa atau siapapun yang bergerak di bidang bisnis itu pasti akan nanti butuh dukungan ini tadi ya, teknologi. Nah, posisi sistem informasi itu ada di mana ya? Nah, sistem informasi itu adanya di sini ya. Nah, jadi beda ya. Masih banyak di masyarakat yang belum mengetahui perbedaan antara teknik informatika dengan sistem informasi ya. Nah, di sistem informasi itu yang dipelajari adalah hubungan ya antara kegiatan bisnis dengan teknologi. Bagaimana kita memanfaatkan teknologi untuk mendukung kegiatan bisnis. Kegiatan bisnis itu seperti apa? Ya, antara lain di sini ya, ada ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, Customer Relationship Management ya, Supply Chain Management, ya, Business Intelligence. Nah, termasuk teknologinya misalkan database, data warehouse ya. Nah, kegiatan-kegiatan bisnis itu seperti juga Transaction Processing System, Management Information System. Nah, kegiatan untuk mendukung pengambilan keputusan oleh manajemen ya dalam bentuk DSS itu dipelajari di sistem informasi ya. Nah, seperti itu ya. Jadi di sistem informasi itu tidak fokus hanya ke satu hal tentang teknologi atau ke manajemen ya, tetapi kita menggabungkan keduanya ya, nah, menjadi itu ya. Nah, yang dipelajari di program studi sistem informasi ini semua ya. Nah, kalau di teknik informatika yang dipelajari hanya bagian bawah aja, teknologinya lebih ke software. Ya. Kalau di sistem komputer, teknologi saja, lebih ke hardware saja. Ya. Di sistem informasi, kita pelajari ini semua. Ya. Jadi calon-calon mahasiswa yang akan kuliah di program studi komputer, nah kalian bisa memilih nanti. Kalian mau pelajari software saja, atau hardware saja, atau kalian juga mengenal bisnis yang dipadukan dengan teknologi. Ya. Nah, itu masuknya di program studi sistem informasi. Ya. Seperti itu ya. Nah, tentang pekerjaan ketika nanti kalian lulus dari program studi sistem informasi, itu seperti apa? Nanti akan seperti ini ya. Ada yang disebut dengan Chief Information Officer, ada juga Business Analyst, ya. Ada juga Sistem Analyst, mungkin juga kalian akan menjadi Project Manager, membawahi berbagai macam sumber daya yang membangun ya teknologi informasi itu. Ya. Bisa juga sebagai seorang database administrator, atau banyak juga sekarang yang menjadi atau membuat konsultan. Ya. Apakah seorang lulusan sistem informasi tidak bisa jadi programmer? Bisa juga ya. Nah, cuma memang lebih banyak yang menjadi programmer itu adalah lulusan teknik informatika ya. Nah, untuk lebih lanjut informasi mengenai sistem informasi, terutama sistem informasi Matana, rekan-rekan bisa lihat di link ini ya. Kami punya link YouTube ya. Silakan, itu linknya bisa dicatat atau di capture, atau kalau kalian masuk ke YouTube, ketik saja sistem informasi Matana, nanti akan ketemu ya. Kemudian ada Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, dan sebagainya. Untuk informasi lebih lanjut, bisa kalian juga hubungi email ya, sistem.informasi@matanauniversity.ac.id. Nah, demikian sambutan saya untuk webinar ini. Ya, selamat berseminar. Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Yunianto. Next, we will have Nadel to share her experience. Nadel, please. Is there any problem?
I wait for the slide.
Yeah, Andrew, is there any problem, Andrew?
To the first slide, please. Okay. Okay, hello everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Nadel. Now I am a college student at Matana University. I majored in information system, and right now I'm in the final year or fourth year. And I will tell you guys about my experience during my time as a student. So for this session, we just relax because this is just sharing time. Okay, let's get started. Next. Okay, I think everyone can agree that before freshman year started, we all had certain perception in our head of what we should expect, right? However, when I became a first-year college student, my expectation about what college is like does really not align with my actual experiences. Truthfully speaking, most of the images I picture in my head regarding what will happen in my freshman year has taken a different path. I thought it would be very easy to be active in college, to be a committee member of various organization, but it turns out to be quite difficult for me because when I was in third semester, there were lots of homework, so it's kind of difficult to manage my time. Next. Yeah, the difference between school and college, I think we all feel the same way. Firstly, schools for teenagers. We want to have more fun. We have no concern about our life. So we want to be happy. That's why we always try to have some fun. We play with our friends. We talk in classroom while the teaching is teaching. And yeah, we can wait for the break because we are tired of studying. And college is for adults, but under the mature people, like college life makes people mature. We are trying to be formal. Mostly we are concerned about our next life, means university life, career path, job, future, and relationship, even marriage for some. And college life is the most important for every educated people. It helps to make a strong foundation for formal life. Next. Being a high school student or college student that you only have yourself to fall back on, right? Of course, there are friends, your partner, your family to support you, but you are the one making decision for yourself. Most college students are in it for the long run. We are motivated and driven. We want to grow as a person and move on to bigger things after graduation, and we all want to achieve some level of success and happiness. So we do everything in our power to make the best life for ourselves. Along the way, we do everything in our power to make the best life for ourselves. And we start taking chances by setting ridiculous goals for ourselves, which can be very satisfying. Sometimes we set the bar too high and sometimes we set the bar too low. It's all about balance though. And the most important thing that we have to remember is learning to be content with everything going on in your life, whether that is school, work, sports, your clubs, or even your relationship gitu. And you will get something new thrown at you every day, but it's nothing that you can't handle. In a way, we have to step out of our comfort zone, which will make us thrive later on. And we have to do our best because you are still young, guys. Next. Since some of you are still in school, so I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of campus organization. Being involved in campus organization indirectly will build a spirit of leadership and professionalism among students. Students can develop leadership potential and professionalism through various campus organization, and the first one is BEM, or Badan Eksekutif Mahasiswa, or the Student Executive Board. Is an executive organization at universities and faculties. Members come from different faculties and departments, and BEM faculty are interested related to student welfare, improving the quality of human resources, strategic studies, community service, and others. Later, when you enter college and have a student orientation, then the BEM will responsible for that. And Student Profession Association or HMJ atau Himpunan Mahasiswa Jurusan are department level student organization that function as a forum for developing the potential of students in their respective fields to further contribute to society. And last is UKM or Unit Kegiatan Mahasiswa or the Student Activity Unit is a place for student activities outside of college hours to develop certain interests. UKM also becomes a means for achievement, and we know in school we know this as ex-school. Next. Okay. In my opinion, when we become college students, we should at least try to get into an organization. I was a committee member at MUFESCO event and inauguration Student Profession Association as a documentation for both, but luckily MUFESCO event was on holiday, so I wasn't overwhelmed by a class schedule, while the inauguration was not. The event is only one day, so it doesn't matter to me. Actually, everyone is different, right? Some can manage their time well, some don't, so it all depends. And it also depends on the major you take, because there are those who have many homework and some don't. And I feel like it all comes back to your passion. Maybe you have a passion in comedy or not. Just do whatever you want as long as you feel you can do it and you don't mind it. It's okay, just go ahead. And I am also a member of the Students Association, but this year we didn't have the chance to hold a seminar because of the pandemic. But at the end of 2019, we successfully held a SE gathering. This gathering for all information system students, and we stay at Puncak for 2 days, 1 night. Next. Whatever you are after, I think that every student needs to switch off and have an occasionally attending a university society like UKM or joining sports team can be the major thing that motivates a student to get through their essays and exams. Getting involved with societies when you are at university can be one of the most fun way to spend your time. Learn new skills and make friends, you make a new circle, and it's a great way to meet like-minded people and discover hidden talents. And don't underestimate what can be gained through these sorts of activities. Not to mention, you will have some amazing experiences that will look good on your CV. And becoming a part of society or committee is a lot of responsibility, of course, yeah. But it can teach you so many things about people, life, and yourself. And employers are looking for soft skills right now and experience as much as a degree through a social activities such as being a team captain or society president. You can grow examples for the CV that you might not have realized you were nurturing. Next. And I'm going to tell you some of the projects that my classmate and I have created. Actually, this is an information system project. Next. There are 4 groups or websites on this project. I'll show you some. First, this is a website for Sangga Buana. Sangga Buana is the name of an organization founded by Babeh Idin. And Sangga Buana is a forest in the city, which is located in Lebak Bulus. The purpose of the Sangga Buana organization is to save nature that has been damaged by irresponsible people. And the purpose of making this website is to provide good information about Sangga Buana because there are still many people who don't know about this. And to create this website, we use WordPress. And as you can see, this is the homepage. And there is a home menu about us, activities, galleries, product, and contact us. And there is a start button or mulai. When it get clicked, it will automatically go down to who we are or siapakah kami. and there is a slide to find out about the facilities or activity in Sangga Buana, and there is a motto of Sangga Buana. Next. This is a history menu showing the history of Sangga Buana, and the gallery menu display images about Sangga Buana. And I'm not going to show you guys all the pages because it takes a long time. Next. And second, this website from other groups, the content of the website is not really that different because we adjust them according to the user requirements. This is a homepage, and as you can see, there are a history and recent posts. And next. And the image on the left is the post menu list, and when you click it, it will get to the detail of the post on the right image. Next. And this is my class documentation. We present the results of this website in front of Chancellor, lecturers, and Babeh Idin as the owner of Sangga Buana. We feel very honored, of course, because in the second semester, we got the opportunity to create a website, and we are very proud to have this opportunity. Next. Second, my class got a project to make an application research institution and community service or lembaga penelitian dan pengabdian kepada masyarakat. This system was made for facilitate lectures in conducting research in terms of community service, and I'll show you some. As you can see, this is the dashboard menu, announcement, guides, proposal, and other. This is the dashboard menu. This page is display data visualization to help users to make the right and best decision based on existing data. Next. And this is the guide page. Here lecturers can download the template of proposal or reports or more. Next. And after making a proposal, the lecturer can upload the proposal on the proposal page here, and which will be checked by the admin LPPM to update the status whether it is approved or not. Next. And this is dedication community to Maria Mediatrix. This dedication community is designed to improve understanding and build relationship and unity. In this dedication community, me and my friends created a website for information announcement and promotional media in order to streamline the school promotion process to the wider community and makes it easy to provide up-to-date information about schools. You guys can open this website, so for those who want to see it, you can open the link written below. And for this website, we use framework Laravel. Next. And again, this is an amazing experience for us, for me and for my friends as students, for getting this opportunity. We are feel very honored to be able to work on this website and present it to the principal and teachers at Maria Mediatrix High School, because as I said before, these things grow up to my soft skill and experience. Yeah, guys, I think that's all I can say about my experience and projects as a college student. I hope that those of you who are still in school can have an overview of college, and for those of you who are already in college, keep doing your best every second and minute. I wish you all success in the future, and just please remember it, learning to be content with everything going on in your life. Thank you, guys. Good afternoon.
Was I muted? Sorry. Yeah, so as I was saying, thank you, Nadel, for sharing with us. I can agree that you have to decide the next step for yourself. Sometimes things things just don't work as it should, but you have to overcome the problem. So let's proceed to the second session. Next, we have Mr. Bon Ryan. He has worked for 5 years as a security engineer at M Security Tech Philippines. He is currently working as a solution architect at the same company. He is now leading a group of security engineers. So he does most of the consultancy now. Mr. Ryan, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So,
Good afternoon.
thank you for inviting me here. Is my line clear or is it kind of choppy?
Pardon, sir?
Hello? Okay.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, okay, I'm back. Just tell me if my line is kind of, my connection is not good, so I can adjust. Anyways, thank you for inviting me here. So it's my privilege to speak for the university and also for the upcoming, I think, information security or information associates or professionals. And thank you also, Sir Matana, for inviting me here. I met way back before 2016 at Malaysia. So we had a training there. So if you can see my screen, here's our picture together, just to show you. So he's the one at the left side. I'm the one at the center. So we're at Malaysia that time. This was March 27, 2016. So it's been a long year. So we met there. So, okay. So I'll be starting with my presentation, and I hope that whenever I present, I would like to have this kind of a more of conversational, so that it can be more interactive. So if you have questions along the way, feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions. Or if you are shy to unmute yourself, just put it on the chat box so that you cannot forget your question, and I will answer it along the way. So it will be most of the high level, so it be generic, so as much as possible, so that it can be understand in the terms of a layman's term in the perspective of students. But if you have some deeper questions, you can freely ask me, and I will try my best to answer it. Okay?
Okay, sir.
I'm showing my screen first. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So I will be discussing about cybersecurity since I've been working with a cybersecurity company for about 5 years. But before that, I'm a programmer. I work at Accenture for 3 years, almost 3 years. So my main language there is Java and some of the Oracle. And then I switched to information security and I worked for MTech. I started as a junior security engineer, and right now I'm currently a solutions architect. I do not do most often now the configurations, but I do most of the consultancy. So if there's, for example, a client or a company that has cybersecurity requirements, so I'll be the one to go there and ask them, assess their infrastructure, infrastructure and security infrastructure, and then I'll give them some of the suggestions or the advice and recommendations on how to strengthen their cybersecurity infrastructure. And first, so what is cybersecurity? So cybersecurity is the practice of defending computers, servers, uh, mobile devices, electronic systems, and also networks and data from malicious attacks. So basically, that's cybersecurity. No? We are, it's also known as information technology security. So we all, or some of that are information security and system security or electronic information security on the layman's terms. So the term applies in variety of contexts from business to mobile computing and can be divided into few common categories. So these are some of the few common categories of cybersecurity. The first one is we have network security. The other one is we have application security, information security, operational security, disaster recovery, and business community, business continuity, and user education. So these are some of the few categories, main categories of cybersecurity, and we will discuss it one by one. So the first one, network security, is just the practice of securing a computer network uh, from intruders, whether targeted attackers or opportunistic malware. So if you have, for example, your computer network, so you have your servers, you have your endpoints. And when we say endpoints, it refers to your laptop, your workstation, your desktop. So it may be a Windows OS, it may be a Mac, or it may be on a Linux version. So the interconnection of uh, these resources, we call it the network, computer networks. So network security is just securing your computer network from intruders. So there are attackers, or we call them hackers. So that's the basic or the layman terms, so we call them hackers or opportunistic malware. There are also sometimes malware, no? Malwares, but most of us, we call them viruses, so that attacks our computer network. So in terms of network security, so this is the practice of securing your computer network from intruders such as that. Okay, the next one is application security. So application security is just the area focusing on keeping software and devices free of threats. So you have, for example, you have softwares, and some of our also is web applications. So web applications like Miss Nadella share, we are using it to uh, deploy websites. Like also they are, for example, office tools that are using. So in terms of application security, this type of security is focusing on keeping that software free of threats. As you all know, if you have, for example, a compromised application, could provide access to data that is designed to protect. So for example, if you have a website and your application server is compromised, for example, the admin account for that application server is hacked or compromised, and maybe the website you are putting on will be showing some unnecessary information, unnecessary pictures, or unnecessary videos or something like that. So to secure that website, so we need to secure that application, so application servers. And also that in terms of securing application server, we also secure your users, okay? So successful security begins in the design stage. So as you know, I think most of us here have done some simple applications, right? So we begin first with the design. So the design stage. So in terms of design stage, we consider also the security of our application. All right. So that's the application security. And the next one, we have information security. So information security mainly focuses it protects the integrity and privacy of data, both in storage and in transit. So here in the Philippines, it's kind of uh, prominent here, the information theft, as you call it. So information theft, it refers to uh, stolen credentials, stolen information. Some of the information, personal information that is very important is your example, social security numbers, or if you have account numbers, if you have credit card numbers. So who among here has their student ID? right? The student ID numbers. So you want your student ID numbers to be uh, uh, selling on the black market, or we call it the dark web. So do you want your, for example, address or personal address. So you log in on Google and then you search your name. Your address is there. So it's kind of information security. So it will protect you from basic hacking, right? So do you want your, for example, if you have children that is below minor age, so do you want their information to be presented on the public web? So you don't want that. So information security is very important because it will protect your privacy of data from both in storage and in transit. Okay? So that's basically information security. And that's one of the, that's why most of the companies are shutting down because their information is stolen. So information also includes the, for example, if you have formulas, if you have kind of recipes, for example, like that, if you have, for example, scripts in TV shows. How about movies? Do you consider them information? Yes, you consider them information, the movies. So that's why we have right now piracy, movie piracy, right? So for us to secure that one, so we need information security. Okay. The next one is operational security. So when we say operational security, it includes process and decisions for handling and protecting data assets. So when you say operational security, it also have the permissions of users when accessing your network. For example, I'm a new employee in a company. So should I have an access to important informations on the company? Of course not. For example, because I'm still a new employee, so the information or the access that I should have is just level 1 access. So I shouldn't have admin access, or for example, super admin access, because I'm still a new employee. So when we say operation security, it refers to the permissions of users and how also we protect our company in terms of uh, the operations. Like for example, what will be done if in case there's an attack, what will be done if there's a new employee that is coming. So what would be done if there's an employee going or resigning on the company. So what are the procedures to that so that we can secure the information, or the information and also the processes that is inside our company. So that's operational security. Okay, so if you have questions, guys, just put it on the chat box. I will be happy to answer that. Okay. Okay, so the next one is disaster recovery and business continuity. I think this is very highlighted right now because of pandemic. So we are currently, Philippines is the longest country with the lockdown. So we have the longest lockdown so far. So in terms of company resources, in terms of, for example, situational for enterprises, it's they need business continuity. So how do the business continue if the people cannot go into office, right? So it refers to business continuity and also disaster recovery. It can be categorized also as disaster. Why? Because employees cannot go to office, but still there are, for example, there are still clients calling to them. If, for example, if I'm a BPO company, if I'm a business process outsourcing, or in layman's term, they call it call center. Do you have this? I think you have also call center in Indonesia, right? So the employees cannot go into the office because there's a lockdown. But we have a contract with vendors. We have contract with certain companies, and they want our support. So in terms of disaster recovery and business continuity, this is where it comes in. So how can we continue our business if there's a pandemic, if there's a lockdown? So how can we continue? How can we recover if there's this kind of situation? So this is will define how an organization will respond to an incident. So not just cybersecurity incident, but also this kind of incident like the COVID-19, right? So disaster recovery policies, so it will dictate how the organization will restore its operations in terms of something happened. So another example is there's a storm. So Philippines is we have at least, I think we have 26 storms every year. So we have floods, we have rains, sometimes we have earthquake also. And just last February, one of our volcanoes erupted. So some of the ashes fall. But so in terms of disaster recovery, if one of the office, if the main office cannot function, you must have a backup office. So we call it the DR, the Disaster Recovery Office. So I think in terms of cybersecurity, it's also one of the most important things to be considered. Okay? And the next one is end user education. So end user education, it addresses the most unpredictable cybersecurity factor, the people. Because if you are, what's the difference between people and software? So software, it's pre-programmed. So you know what will act, how it will act, how it will act in a certain situation, how it will respond. But in terms of people, there are so many factors. So you have to consider the emotional factors, the behavior. You have to consider their ethics. You have also to consider the environments. And of course, sometimes people's reaction differs in different kind of situation, right? So anyone can accidentally introduce a virus to an otherwise secure system. So it is very, the main problem with companies that are faced by companies is the people. Sometimes if the people are uneducated in terms of cybersecurity, they are the loopholes. So they are the weak points of cybersecurity. For example, I'm a new user, and I don't have a personal computer at home. So I only use my desktop at my office. But I have to edit some documents so that I can work it on tomorrow. So what I do, I go to a computer shop and I have my thumb drive or a flash drive, and I insert it to that computer shop without knowing that computer shop has some malwares, they are infected by virus. So my flash drive or my USB is also infected. So I do my homework, and then tomorrow I go to office, and then I put my flash drive in my desktop. So the malware is transferred from my flash drive to my desktop. So eventually, the malware is infecting the network of my office. So the main factor of that is the people. So they don't know what is the proper handling of some certain information. So in terms of end user education, we also have this. Have you had an experience wherein you receive an email from someone, and it says that you won $1,000? Please click this account to retrieve that certain amount? Have you received some kind of that phishing email? When you click that one, when you click that one, it will prompt you to a website, and sometime later on, your Facebook account is compromised. So you cannot log in anymore. The worst thing to happen is that there are some rated X showing on your Facebook account or your social media, right? So it started with a certain email or certain SMS or MMS. So with the proper end user education, we sent out training to users that if you receive some of this email, this is what you should do. You should put it on the junk folder, you should delete it, you should report it to the admin. So end user education, it is the process of that. We are educating users what to do if something happens or something they receive some emails or some malicious emails. Okay, so that's I think this is very important information also in terms of cybersecurity. Okay, so as you all know, so we have also I think we have 6 categories on that one. That will be the last one. And if you have questions, you can put it on the chat, or if you have reactions, it's very welcome. Okay, so right now we'll be talking about cybersecurity framework. So, okay, so right now I have this knowledge and this category. How should I put up my cybersecurity? How should I protect my company? How should I protect this one? So I know the details, I know the information, I know the categories. So this is the framework. So framework is as the same as building a house. So you have your skeletal framework, right? You have your foundations. So this framework is also the same. So we call it the NIST Cybersecurity Framework. So NIST stands for National Institute of Security and Technology. So it is a US based company, but this is being used globally. So cybersecurity framework is prioritized, flexible, and cost-effective approach that helps to promote the protection and resilience of critical infrastructure and sectors important to business entities and national security. Okay, this is the cybersecurity framework, as you can see. So we have 5 frameworks, as you can see here. The first one, we have the identity framework. So identity framework, it is the process of identifying what are the vulnerabilities, what are the resources that I have, what are the things that I should manage, are the risks, what are the strategy. So this is the identify framework. So the identify framework, these are the solutions on this one, but we will tackle it along the way. We have asset management. So asset management, we have the business environment, we have the governance, we have the risk assessment, and we have also the risk management strategy. The next one is protection. So the protection, these two are connected. So because we cannot protect what we don't know, right? So before we protect something, we should identify them first. And after we identify what we should protecting, then we go to the protect portion of the framework. So for example, this one are the access control. So we have also the awareness training, we have the data security, we have information and protection procedures, maintenance, we have also protected technology. And the next one is detect. In the detect phase, so in comparison with identify, the detect portion is here we see what are the anomalies currently happening in our cybersecurity infrastructure. So is there a virus growing in my laptop or my desktop? Is there a compromised account? Is there a weak configuration of my certain device? So that would be. And the next one is response. So in the response portion, this is our, after we detect some of the anomalies and event on our security, so what would we do? So this is where response comes in. So this is the response planning, this is the communication, analysis, mitigation, and improvement. And after that is the recovery. So after what happened, so how we will do recovery. Okay. If you have questions, I just have a certain favor. Can you put it on English since I cannot understand Bahasa Malaysia? I can start some few words, but not all Bahasa. So if you have questions, kindly put it on English. Or Aurelio can translate it for me.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we will go on for one by one. So first we have identity function. So we have IT asset management, we have vulnerability management, we have also risk and compliance management, we have data discovery and classification, identity, and access analytics. So it will assist you in developing and understanding and risk to system, people, assets, data, and capabilities. Okay, just a fast overview of this one. IT asset management, it will give you an overview what are the resources that I have. How many laptops, how many desktops in my network, how many devices, how many firewalls, how many users that are currently looking. Vulnerability management is will be what are the vulnerabilities that is present in my network. Risk and compliance, so it is definitely one of the most important things. So if you have, for example, certain laws on cybersecurity, I think Indonesia also has cybersecurity laws. So how would I know that if I'm compliant to my different laws of my country? So that will be the number 3 is going on. Data discovery and encryption, it will give you an overview what are the sensitive information that is present on my industry or my company, so that I can classify them. Can I classify them into, for example, personal information? Is it account numbers? Is it social security numbers? Is it health information numbers? Okay. Identity and access analytics. So these are just some of the things that we use to identify that, for example, Aurelio is one of the users of the university, and he has a username Aurelio. And one time, some of the hackers gets his credentials, and he uses also the same credentials of Aurelio. So he logs in to his, for example, the website of the university. But if we have, for example, identity and access analytics, and Aurelio logs in only at the website at 6 a.m. to 5 p.m., and the hacker logs in at 12 midnight, so it will have an alert that this is not his usual behavior. This is not his usual pattern. So I will block him. I will not let him log in to the website, or I will not let him log in to the computers. So that's how identity and access analytics. So it will give you a baseline of your behavior, of your usage behavior. So it is something very important also. And also it will give you all the two-factor authentication. So aside from passwords, you know that passwords is very obsolete right now. Do you have some? How many of you here have mobile banking? You access your banks through mobile. Can I have a raise of hand on the icons here? Do you have a mobile banking? Okay, so if you have mobile banking, when you do transactions, do you receive an OTP, one-time password? Do you receive OTP? It's a 6-digit combination number so that the transaction should go through, right? So that's identity analytics. So that's part of the identity analytics, okay? The next one is in the Protect framework. So we have network access control. So the network access control is, for example, do you go to the Starbucks? Do you have Starbucks often? And do you connect to Starbucks free Wi-Fi? Okay, so some of us, we connect to Starbucks free Wi-Fi, right? But so in terms of, for us to be able to have a free access, so we have the network access control. So we analyze if this user is a legitimate user or is it a guest user. So if it's a guest user, I will give him just a guest access. So he cannot access my personal, my internal information. Okay. The next one is firewall, IPS, and IDS. So it is very important. So firewall is the first defense of corporate cybersecurity. So it is where we come in. So the firewall will be filtering your access. If you're not a legitimate access, it will block you. So you will not have access to your network. And the next one is anti-malware. So anti-malware, in the email term, these are your antivirus. So that's the next one. The next one is DDoS prevention. So DDoS prevention, so it basically protects your websites, your web servers from DDoS attacks. And the next one is data loss prevention and encryption. So it will help you to secure your information. And another one is identity and access management. So it will give you an overview on how to respond to certain users that is compromised. Okay? The next portion is the detect framework. So the detect framework, it will have the network monitoring, application monitoring, access monitoring, log collection, SSL visibility, packet capture. Okay, so this is just in layman's terms the CCTV inside the company. So what does CCTV do? It monitors people, right, inside the company. It monitors certain location. So in terms of the tech portion, these solutions are the CCTV inside the network. So it monitors the traffic, it monitors the application performance, it monitors the access, it monitors the endpoints, it monitors database. So just so that we can understand. Okay. The next one is the response. So we call it the Security Operations Center. So have you seen some movies like, for example, the Black Hat? Or for example, have you seen, the best one is the Mission Impossible. Have you seen Mission Impossible? So they have this headquarters wherein people have their computers, they have the large screen, and they can see everything. They have CCTV. They can see Tom Cruise where he is. What's the status? Is it so? The security operation is kind of like that. This is the headquarters of the cybersecurity. So this is where they can see everything. They can see the reports. They can see the dashboard. They see everything. Okay. So in the terms of security operation center, this is where you monitor, and if you receive alert, you have seen movies like, for example, a certain door has been shut down, or it's open. So there's an alert, right? Red lights with sound, like that. So in terms of network security, in a security operation center, we have also that kind of alert, but with no sound. But it's just we just have a dashboard that is flickering alert. This has been an incident. There's been a hacker. Okay, so we have also there an incident response. We have digital forensic and testing, and we have assessment and report. So we have, for example, have you seen Star Trek? I like sci-fi movies. Have you seen the movie Star Trek? So if the captain there's a war, for example, and the one of the engine has failed, he will ask incident report. So what's the damage, but also what's the assessment, and how can we recover, how many hours. So it will come to this. It's kind of like that. Okay. The next one is recovery. So recovery planning, improvements, and communication. So these are the main main frameworks of cybersecurity. Okay, so if you want to have a visualize, we have a visual, for example. I made here a visualization so that you can see how it will be done. So for example, this is your cyber infrastructure. Okay, so you have there your cyber infrastructure. The first, if you remember, we have identify, right? So we will identify first our cyber infrastructure, our asset, the vulnerabilities. And the next one, we have the protection. After we identify, we need to protect these resources, right? And after we protect these resources, we need to detect. So we need to monitor what is the happening inside our network. So we just not protect, we monitor. And after we have the detection, we have this security operations center, right? So everything that is happening, we put it on our big monitors. We have there the monitoring, alertion, the incident response. We have the digital forensic. We have also the assessment and report, and then the threat hunting. So that's how cybersecurity encloses certain infrastructure. Okay. So based on color coding, right? So this is next we have slide. So this is the technology blueprint. So we have groupings here. So we have group, for example, identity and access, depending on the requirement. So for example, one of our clients I want to have protection on my application. So this group here, so I will be looking at this group of our application. For example, I want to have a protection in terms of data information. So I will look for this group. So do I have a data encryption? Do I have a data lifecycle management? So if I want to have a monitoring on my users, I will go to here on this group. Okay, so this is just I have made this simple to certain clients so that when I face them, sir, this is what you need. This is in terms of your requirements. These are the things that you need in your network. Okay, and I have here some examples of, for example, some of my clients belong to financial institutions. So I have marked them the basic here, mandatory, advanced, and optional. So if this is basic, so if you're a financial institution, for example, you're a bank, you are insurance company, so these things is the must have. For example, I should have this one. And in terms of identity and access, I should have this one. This one. In terms of application, so I have made this profile so that in terms of if there are, for example, financial institution, they can have an overview of what they need. And right now we have also some example for government. So if you have, for example, government institutions, so these are some of the things that they basically need. Some of them are advanced and some of them are optional. Okay. I think I'll jump to, okay. I'll jump to some of the use cases. For example, as identify, protect portion, protect the detect portion. So these are some, for example, some of your clients, if you'll be working in some information security. I want to have some asset management, identity and access, vulnerability, network detection. So we'll give them why. So why is this important? So for example, monitoring and what is asset management? It monitors and manages your assets. What is identity and access? It standardizes and automates critical aspects, managing identities. So for example, two-factor or multi-factor, vulnerability management, finding and fixing potential weakness and organization. The risk is identify who may be at risk and prioritize according to criticality and urgency. And the network detection. So, okay, that portion. So we have this restrict access to resources in the network. So it will not give access to this in the network. Firewalls secure network from both internal and external dangers. Next one is data security, identity. So I can give you this copy so that you can read on after. Okay, so we have also email security. We have malware and ransomware protection. We have mobility. Right now, some of the companies are using mobile phones, right? So you need to protect your mobile phones also. And also in terms of detection portion, so we have to detect anomalies and event, which is your antivirus for your endpoint or your laptop and desktop. You have also your security monitoring. You have your network detection and response, log collection, to analyze logs and network traffic, and identity access. In terms of response, of course, you have here your security operations center that comprises your SIEM, okay, and collaboration. So it's just improving of your optimization of your network traffic. And the recoveries, you have, for example, the virtual infrastructure, the switches, So that would be unique. Okay. I think that would be all for my presentation. I hope you learned something. So if you have questions, you can put it on the chat box. I'll be happy to answer.
Yes, thank you for sharing with us, Mr. Ryan. Yeah, I learned a lot from your presentation. And we do have some question here. Thank you for Gladys Masuria for asking. The question is cybersecurity just for a big company? Because to use the system, we need to spend maybe a lot of budget to buy that system. Do you have solution for the small company to still have the security system with lower budget? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's a good question. Okay, so we have so cybersecurity is not just for big companies. It is for all. It is for all. It may be your small company or a medium-sized company. So you need cybersecurity. We have, for example, we analyze or we assess what are the resources that they need. For example, I'm a small company and I only have laptops or desktop. I don't have networks. So what we give them is just, for example, and you need to protect your resources, antivirus. So we give them, depending on their size, we give them a small portion of what they need. I mean, the security requirement that they need. So regardless of you are big or small company, so there's a security requirement that fits for you. Okay. You have a next question?
Okay, I hope that answer your question, Gladys. Next question is from Vincent Dennis. He asked, throughout the years of working in the field of cybersecurity, did the company you work in ever experience a breach of security, and what kind of breachment do you face? How did you manage to solve the problem?
Yeah, okay. So since we are a distributor of cybersecurity, we are the one who offers solution. So our security in our company is very tight, but I can give you examples on the clients that we have. So there's been a breach of ransomware. Have you heard WannaCry? So we have clients that have been affected by WannaCry. So their folders and their information have been encrypted, so they cannot open their information, they cannot open their documents. So if they cannot open their documents, they cannot do transactions. So we manage them, we give them some of the solutions that we have. For example, if the information are recoverable, we give them some security devices or security solutions. And some of our clients also have been, for example, they have been users that are being logged in, even though the user is already do not belong to the company. So we give them the help to recognize and to identify what are the users that are not supposed to be present in my company. So I gave them identity analytics that I have shown to you, and we solved the problem. So there are also some users that have not changed their password for how many days. Can you guess how many days that the user did his password? So some of the users that we have is for 5,000 days, that password has not been changed. So ever since he joined the company, his password is the same. So I think that's a risk, since if I'm, for example, I know his password, so I can get into his company and I can destroy some of the information that I have. So we give them the analytics portion. Okay, thank you for that question, Vincent.
Okay.
I think we have question for Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew have a question.
Yeah, I will read this one. In this pandemic era, how about the cybersecurity issues there? How does the Philippines handle cybersecurity issues? Okay, so good question. Okay, since the environment has changed, most of the users right now is working from home. So this user should be protected even though they are using their personal network or their personal laptops. So we give them the security that is present on their laptop wherever they go or any time of the day. So we install security agents on their laptops. We do also give them VPN or virtual private network so that they can access their internal resources even though they are home. So it's like a secure gateway on their network. And also they can have remote monitoring of the devices and the users. So cybersecurity is right now is kind of, it's anticipated, but I think we just have evolved from the traditional on-premise, I mean the traditional office network or office security to the house or home security, as we call it. Thank you, Andrew, for that question. Do you have more questions? I'll be happy to answer.
Yes, sir. I have a few questions. What is the most dangerous threat in cybersecurity, yet the hardest to find?
Okay, that's a very good question. Okay, so I think so before I answer that, I'll give you some insights on the company users. So the most important thing on a company or in a business entity or a corporate is information. If a confidential information leaks out from the company, it's not supposed to be in public, it will be a big loss. We heard, like, for example, the Sony has been hacked, information has been exfiltrated, it's been uploaded to dark web. Some of the also have been hacked, and information of users have been exposed to the public. With regards to that, for example, if I'm a bank and my users have been compromised from that bank, right? Because I don't have trust anymore in that bank. So it will mean a big loss to that bank. So the very important resource or aspect in a certain company is information and how we do protect that. So we should protect that information. So with this, so if you're protecting some information, you do not only need one solution. It is a combination of solutions that will be collaborating with each other to protect the information. So first we have, for example, the perimeter. So the perimeter security, it will define you how does user comes into my network. So it will be your firewall, it will be your IPS, and also the monitoring, right? As I have mentioned earlier, how do users behave in my network? So if is there an abnormal behavior? Is this user downloading or uploading some large amount of data outside my network? So this is suspicious. So that's user monitoring. And I think that's another one is the protection. So you have your protection for your endpoints so that whenever this user is doing something, you can block that user or you can shut down that transaction. So that the question is very good. So I think the most important one is the most dangerous one is your information leaks outside. I think it is also dangerous to normal people like us, right? Even we have personal or privacy that we need to protect, right? So if that information leaks out, it will be dangerous to us also. Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there anyone wants to ask another question? Okay, while we are waiting, I'm gonna ask 2 more questions, sir. Is that okay?
Yes, 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 sure, sure.
Okay, the first one, is there any cases where security engineers are not sure about something wrong, with something wrong that has been happening in terms of security? That's one. And the second one, um, you mentioned about the password in the previous question. So how long do you think we should change our password? Thank you, sir.
Okay, so that's good questions, right? So the first one is, yes, we have some uh, certain instances that like that we are not sure what is happening in the network. So what we do is we do investigation and we do troubleshooting. So this is the reality. So when you go into your client, so you ask them some diagnostic questions. So what is the attack? Where is the attack happen? If they don't know, then we do some troubleshooting, we do some monitoring, and we do some threat hunting and investigation. And if you have watched CSI, or for example like that, crime scene investigation, they have some forensic team, right? Forensics. So if the attack happened on a certain enterprise, in a certain company, we also have some forensics. So we investigate where did it happen, how did it happen, and when did it happen. So after that, we do some uh, recommendations and we do some uh, like a doctor, we do consultations, right, with the doctor, and we give them the diagnosis. So this is what happens, sir. This is where you have, this is where the attacker comes in. This is the application that he uses to attack your network, and this is the user that he uses to attack your network. So basically, if we're not sure, we do some diagnostic questions, we do some forensics, we do some threat hunting, so that to be sure. But there are sometimes also that because of uh, the level of information that you have and also some experience and the attacks has a pattern, or this thing happened also to this client, this thing also happened to this client, and this thing also happens to the client, they are the same. So we can generally give them first-hand information. This is might be something wrong, but still uh, the most important thing is the evidence or the information. So we do not rely just on hearsay, we do not rely on some coincidence, but we rely on the information that we have gathered, and then we do some diagnosis. Okay, and the next one is for the password. So the very good certain companies have their own policies on password changes. So this is, for example, it must have 8 characters, combination of digits and alphanumerics and expressions, and it must be changed within every 60 days. So different companies have different policies, but the most important thing is you must change your password at least once every 60 days, or if you can change it every 30 days, it will be good. Because right now it's very easy to crack passwords, because password is very obsolete right now. So it must be the most recommended thing is to change your password every 30 days, or if you want 45 or 60 days, not later than 60 days, because it's very long. But if you have, for example, sir, another level of authentication, like for example, you input your password and then you need your fingerprint to log in, that's good, because the password can be hacked, but your fingerprint cannot be hacked because it's unique. It's only yours, right? So I think it's better. Okay. Thank you
Okay,
for that question.
okay, thank you, sir. So is there anyone wants to ask another question?
Okay, I think there's a question from Hendra. This is a good question also. Hi, Mr. Ryan, I have a question. How to handle when our data or system is being hacked? So first is assessment first. How much data has been leaked. So the first thing that we do is we isolate so that we can prevent any more leaking of data. That's how we do, right? For example, if you have been, in a practical application, if you have been wounded, for example, on your leg, you put a tourniquet, right? So that the blood will stop the flow of blood. And then after the first aid came. So that's how we do also. If there's a leakage on the data in our network, I will put a digital tourniquet on that leak so that the leak will not continue. And then afterwards, I will do assessment, I will do the threat hunting, and I will put data security on my devices. So that's how we do it. And if, for example, as you all know, it's like if your data has been leaked, it's like crying over spilled milk because the milk has already been spilled. So what you do is you focus on what's remaining and then you protect it because it's already on the public. Once your data is already in the public, you cannot take it back, right? So that's why we do the mitigation first, we stop the leak, and then we do the securing the perimeter. We harden the security. Okay, thank you. The next question is from Anissa. I'm sorry, I have a question. Most of the people only use antivirus. Can we entrust data security to antivirus? That's a good question. Okay, so the difference between antivirus and data protection, this is the difference. So antivirus will protect you from malwares, from viruses, signatures, and the data protection somehow it will protect your information. But here it is on the catch. There is a solution right now that protects you from viruses and protects you also from data leakage. So they have this combination of protection. So you may be protecting yourself from antivirus, but make sure that module.security has also the data security portion. Okay. So if you want to entrust your data security on your antivirus, make sure there are certain modules on that one. If you just right click on the lower right side or the icon of that antivirus, if you can see a data security portion of that one, it means that you can entrust your data security on that antivirus also. But if that antivirus only shows you that anti-malware, anti-virus only, or anti-DDoS, so it may be possible that the data protection is not that kind of good. So you may want to get another security for data, to refer your data security. Okay, thank you for that question, Anissa. Any more questions? Thank you for that wonderful questions. Okay, I think we don't have any more questions. Thank you everyone for listening, and I hope you learned something from my presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ryan. For participants can check the link we've just sent. It is for the absence. If you missed it, maybe Andrew or Sugi can share it again. And for Mr. Ryan, you are allowed to leave the webinar if you want to, because the next session, Mr. Jury will give some words in Indonesian. So
Okay.
Yeah. If you, yeah,
So
thank
I'll
you.
be leaving now. So if you have some questions, maybe you can contact Eliando and he can relay that to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ryan.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Oke, selanjutnya Pak Juhri, silakan, waktu dan tempatnya saya persilakan.
Ya. Halo, selamat sore semuanya, Om Matanian. Apa kabarnya? Semuanya baik-baik saja ya semuanya. Terima kasih banyak. Ini udah diundang sama program studi sistem informasi Matana University. Kebetulan mungkin ada yang belum, tapi sepertinya semuanya kenal semua gitu. Sampai dan pertama kali mungkin saya juga akan menyapa dulu. Terima kasih banyak untuk SMA Tunas Indonesia Bintaro yang sudah bisa bergabung di acaranya webinar internasional. Terus satu lagi ada dari SMK Bonafide Tangerang. Terus sama satu lagi ada Pondok Pesantren Azaida. Dan ini satu lagi ada satu dari SMA Saverius. Kebetulan baru bergabung juga, tapi dia ngechat ke saya pribadi. Terus saya juga tidak pula mengucapkan terima kasih banyak mahasiswa-mahasiswi dari UBD, Universitas Budi Dharma, Universitas Bunda Mulia, dan Universitas Esa Unggul. Tidak lupa juga saya ucapkan terima kasih banyak, selamat juga buat Nadel and Friends ya, dari program studi informasi. Mungkin kalau saya sharekan, mungkin tidak akan share banyak juga dari marketing, karena sebenarnya sih ini juga dari teman-teman yang dari sekolah dari SMA Tunas Indonesia Bonafide itu sebenarnya sih udah beberapa kali kita presentasi, sosialisasi, terus juga kami juga sudah kalau Tunas Indonesia ini adalah yang kedua kali mengikuti webinarnya dari kami. Yang pertama adalah kita mengadakan sesi khusus untuk Tunas Indonesia dengan multimedianya, desain komunikasi visual, fotografi, dan Bonafide ini salah satunya kita juga sudah sosialisasi. Mungkin yang ingin saya sampaikan aja, mungkin bagi yang belum kenal, perkenalkan nama saya Juhri, saya di bagian marketing Matana University. Saya saat ini paling saya ingin menginformasikan bahwa kami sudah melakukan pendaftaran untuk gelombang 1 untuk tahun 2021. Jadi kita sudah membuka untuk pendaftaran 2021. Bagi teman-teman yang sekarang nih masih sudah menginjak kelas 12 SMA SMK, kebetulan kami saat ini lagi ada program Early Bird Matana. Ini untuk sebenarnya sih ini penutupannya sampai pendaftaran itu sampai besok tanggal 16 Oktober dengan melakukan pembelian formulir Rp150.000 saja. Teman-teman bagi yang kelas 12 saat ini sudah langsung mendapatkan bebas uang gedung 100%, dan apabila ingin mendapatkan tambahan lainnya untuk bisa mengikuti tes beasiswa Matana untuk mendapatkan tambahan potongan biaya tetap semester antara 30, 50, 75, bahkan 100% hingga 8 semester, seperti itu. Ini buat teman-teman juga yang masih kelas 12 saat ini, dan teman-teman khususnya untuk Matanian, kami juga ada mau menginformasikan bahwa kami juga membuka untuk program MGS, ya, Matanian Guest Student. Untuk prosedur dan yang lainnya mungkin nanti bisa langsung tanya ke education consulting-nya dari kita di bagian marketing, bisa dengan saya sendiri boleh. Nanti akan saya juga mungkin sudah men-sharekan dari layer dari Matanian Guest Student atau MGS itu sendiri. Dan untuk anak-anak kelas 12 SMK, SMA, kita di Matana University jangan ragu untuk memilih program sistem informasi bisnis untuk Matana University ini sendiri, karena selain sarjana gelar S1 sarjananya, ini juga dilengkapi dengan sertifikasi profesi tentunya, seperti itu. Dan teman-teman gunakan kesempatan baik ini karena memang untuk pendaftaran sampai besok sebelum tanggal 16 kita akan buka untuk pembelian formulir untuk mendapatkan program bebas uang gedung 100%. Tetapi bagi peserta yang ikut dalam webinar kali ini, kami buka lagi sampai tanggal 20 Oktober untuk pembelian formulirnya langsung mendapatkan bebas uang gedung 100%. Dan bagi teman-teman yang ingin mendapatkan potongan lagi, biaya tetap semester tidak hanya 1 semester di Matana ini sendiri, kami sediakan juga sampai 8 semester antara 30, 50, 75 ataupun bahkan bebas biaya tetap semester tinggal mengikuti tes beasiswa Matana. Tesnya apa saja? Tesnya hanya bahasa Inggris dan matematika dasar saja. Total soalnya adalah 35 soal. Untuk penilaiannya 60% dari rata-rata rapot kelas 1 dan 2 atau semester 10 dan kelas 10 dan 11 ditambah 40% dari nilai tes. Jadi kesempatan bagi teman-teman nih kebetulan kalau nggak salah nih ada saya masih ada, kalau nggak salah ini ada Iqbal ini kalau nggak salah dari Universitas Muhammadiyah Gresik ya. Terus ada lagi Stefani nih, Stefani dari Bu Navita. Bagi teman-teman nih yang masih sekarang ikutan programnya webinar internasional ini, teman-teman masih kami beri kesempatan khusus untuk peserta webinar. Pendaftarannya kami tunggu sampai pembelian formulir kami tunggu sampai tanggal 20 Oktober langsung dapat bebas uang gedung 100%. Teman-teman dan nggak usah khawatir untuk memilih program studi sistem informasi Matana University. Karena apa? Selain ditambah dengan sarjana S1-nya, kami juga tambahkan dengan sertifikasi profesinya seperti itu. Dan jangan lupa, dan tidak hanya itu juga, banyak sekali kegiatan-kegiatan yang dari sistem informasi ini kami berikan ya. Jadi beberapa kegiatan-kegiatan seperti ini tidak menyangka nih program studi sistem informasi bisa menyelenggarakan seminar internasional. Nah, kapan lagi bisa bergabung di sistem informasi Matana University seperti itu. Nah, untuk program studi lainnya bisa di-chat aja di Kajuri di 0812 9456 2756 atau misalkan mau kepoin nih ya. Tadi ada yang kepoin juga di Instagramnya Juri_Matana University seperti itu. Dan teman-teman ini sebagai yang terakhir ya mungkin Kajuri iklan nggak berbayar juga bagi teman-teman yang ingin mendengarkan nih, yang masih suka mendengarkan radio. Jangan lupa dengerin 99,5 atau 99,9 Virgin Radio Musik Tanpa Jeda Iklan bersama penyiarnya yang lagi ngomong saat ini juga seperti itu. Baik, terima kasih teman-teman. Kak Juri cuma mungkin menginformasikan seperti itu aja. Jangan khawatir, jangan ragu, jangan masih pikir-pikir. Ambil program studi sistem informasi bisnis karena banyak sekali kegiatan yang dilakukan oleh mahasiswa-mahasiswi dari program studi sistem informasi bisnis juga. Dan satu lagi teman-teman, Kak Juri informasikan lagi nih sekalian lagi ya, Aurelio sama Nadel. Kak Juri masih dikasih waktu kan ya waktunya?
Iya Pak.
Masih ya. Oke, jangan lupa untuk teman-teman Matanian bergabunglah bersama MGS Matana University itu karena ada reward menarik buat teman-teman juga. Terus yang kedua, buat teman-teman yang masih kelas 12, ayo daftar sebelum tanggal 20 khusus peserta webinar internasional kali ini karena ada program bebas uang gedung langsung plus tambahan potongan biaya tetap semester selama 8 semester antara 30, 50, 75, bahkan 100%. Materi tesnya cukup gampang, bahasa Inggris dan matematika dasar saja. Mungkin hanya itu aja dari Kak Juri. Terima kasih banyak Sistem Informasi Matana University. Kami tunggu webinar-webinar selanjutnya dan kami akan sharekan untuk webinar seriesnya yang akan masih ada 3 lagi. Baik, saya kembalikan ke Aurelio lagi kembali.
Ya, baik. Untuk link absensinya mohon untuk diisi karena ring absensi itu digunakan untuk mendapatkan e-sertifikat. Mungkin Pak Ayun ada ingin menyampaikan beberapa kata-kata.
Ya, terima kasih ya buat semua panitia, Aurel, Sugi, Nadel, ya, Pak Eliando, Andrew, Pak Juri, juga rekan-rekan peserta. Mungkin saya tidak bisa sebutkan satu persatu, telah hadir mensukseskan acara webinar yang diselenggarakan oleh program studi sistem informasi hari ini ya. Ya, mungkin kalau tadi kesulitan mendengar karena pakai bahasa Inggris, Uli ya, bahasa Inggris ya. Pembicaranya juga dari Filipina ya. Asli dia ada di sana itu. Langsung ya. Rekaman ini juga nanti akan bisa diakses melalui YouTube. Linknya akan kami berikan setelah ini ya, karena tidak disiarkan secara langsung, nanti akan direkam. Webinar berikutnya akan diselenggarakan pada hari Senin, ya, tanggal 19 Oktober 2020. Pastikan rekan-rekan yang berminat untuk mengetahui lebih lanjut program studi sistem informasi, boleh hadir ya di hari Senin, tanggal 19 Oktober 2020. Demikian dari saya. Terima kasih.
Oke, baik Pak Yun, terima kasih atas kata-katanya. Mungkin kita menunggu sebentar ya Pak untuk dokumentasi. Saya coba undang Mr. Ryan kembali karena tadi lupa untuk dokumentasi. Jadi kita menunggu sebentar. Untuk sementara mungkin peserta open kamera saja. Dari para peserta bagaimana? Mungkin mendapat mendapat ilmu atau bagaimana? Bisa sharing sedikit mungkin? Mungkin Mr. Ryan sedang tidak bisa dihubungi, jadi kita akhiri saja sesi ini dengan dokumentasi terlebih dahulu. Mohon peserta lihat kamera ya, mau didokumentasikan. Ya, baik, sudah didokumentasikan. Yang ingin mematikan kameranya, silakan. Ya, baik, webinar.
Terima kasih semuanya. Saya pamit kembali ke asal. Terima kasih.
Iya, Pak Juri.
Ya,
Baik,
terima kasih.
mari
Ya,
kita.
caranya tiga kali lagi ya.
Iya, Pak.
3 kali lagi kan, 3 sesi lagi kan, masih ada 3 sesi.
Iya, Pak.
Ya. Terima kasih ya,
Iya,
Aurelio.
Pak.
Terima kasih, Nadel. Sukses buat Prodi Sistem Informasi.